We're back. Hi, third graders. I'm Mrs. Clary.
And I'm Carson Clary.
And today we're here to show you how to do the Big Bad Challenge. Do you know what the Big Bad Challenge is?
No.
The Big Bad Challenge, third graders, is for you to build a house to withstand the antagonist. Now we've read 3 versions of the 3 little pigs. Do you know thus far who have the antagonists been in each of the versions?
The wolf.
The wolf in the 3 little tamales?
The wolf.
And then how about this week in the 3 little wolves?
The pig.
Crazy! And each time the antagonist worked to destroy the homes of the protagonists. So we're going to see if we can build a house to stand up to the biggest and baddest of all antagonists. Now, there are some rules around your house building that you have to know about. How do you feel about rules?
I like them.
All right. Well, here's rule number 1. Rule number 1 is you get to use primarily only one material to build your house. What kind of materials might you use?
Cotton balls, sticks, popsicle sticks, and I don't know.
Straws, paper, any recycled materials you have at home will do. Don't worry about going out and getting something in particular. See what you have and try your best to engineer it into a house. Rule number 2, you can use multiple different materials to hold your house together. So what are some kinds of things that would hold the house together?
Glue, hot glue guns, Elmer's glue, glue sticks, rubber bands,
paper clips, tape. One of my best materials to stick things together, or all-time favorites, I should say, Play-Doh, clay. The list goes on. You can use multiples of those kinds of materials if you're just sticking things together. Okay, rule number 3. It can be no taller than 10 inches. Move my hand to where you think 10 inches is. Okay, let's measure it. 10 inches. Oh man, nice estimation. He's right on the money. That's about 10 inches tall. Okay, it should look like a house. What kind of features would a house have if it were to look like a house?
Chimney, door, windows.
That would be about adequate to make it look like a house. Nice job. How about this? You have to test it at the end to see if it would withstand the antagonist. You test it by either blowing it down just like this, 3, 2, 1, or you could use a hairdryer and test it out that way. Now, to get started on building your big bad house, you're going to need to first design your house. You have in your supply folder these rules that we just went over, and then you also have a page where you can design a sketch of your house. Now, let me tell you a couple of tips to be a really, really fantastic engineer. Tip number 1, engineers build structures that are strong when they think about things like using shapes that would be sturdy for constructing a house. So what kind of shapes do you see in houses?
Squares.
Squares. Rectangles. Those are 2 good shapes to start with. We can also think about supports, like support beams. And strong supports are usually parallel, perpendicular at strong right angles, or even with each other, okay? So you keep everything even with each other. Now, I want you to know that it's not easy to be an engineer. Engineers are faced with impossible challenges. I want you to think about the challenges you might face, and then after you've sketched it, look carefully at your sketch and think to yourself, what might happen? And then add anything you need to add before you build. You ready to sketch?
Yes.
Let's go. Okay, we're all set to build. Carson has his sketch ready. He has anticipated challenges. Tell us, what are you going to do for building your big bad challenge house?
I'm thinking of building a small 10-inch house that goes up to about 10 inches. Then I'll make a chimney on it, and I'll just hope for the best and make sure it holds up.
Now, well, good. Now, what shapes did you use in your design?
A square.
Square. And how did you decide to put the square together? What do the pieces resemble?
Resemble a raft.
So you, I wish I could, it's not built, but let's see. In his sketch, there you go. He's making separate square sections that resemble a raft. And what you'll notice is, do you know that all of those popsicle sticks, do you know that you're running them either parallel to each other or perpendicular? Did you know that?
No.
Well, now you do. He has the popsicle sticks running both parallel and perpendicular. I think this is going to be a strong house. What are you going to attach them all together with?
Hot glue.
Well, then we better get a move on. Let's go. You did it. You built a house for the Big Bad Challenge. Check this out. It's complete with a
Door.
and a
Chimney.
and all of the walls, floor, and ceiling of the house. Now, what was one problem that came up during the challenge?
One problem was putting the walls together. The glue wasn't sticking the best, so I prefer not to use hot glue unless you have a parent to help you.
Yeah, well, the glue did stick pretty well. It's just that it's tricky using a hot glue gun. You have to be really careful not to get burned. So we're sending a warning out to you. If you want to use hot glue, you definitely have to have parental supervision. We also ran into the problem of some of our, the spots where we were attaching, they weren't even. And so it was harder than we expected to attach it. Do you remember what we did to help make them even?
We had to cut off some of the edges.
Yeah, we had to trim off some of the edges, but you know, engineers problem solve as they go too. So we worked really hard as engineers. Are you ready to see if it withstands?
Yes.
Okay, the huff and the puff of, let's do the huff and the puff of our blow dryer here. Tilt our camera. Do you want me to give you a countdown?
Yes.
Do you have it on high? Whoa! Oh, 3, 2, 1. It didn't even budge. Wow, Carson. Now that you have completed the challenge, you have just one more job, and that is on the very end of the pack of papers that you got in your supply folder is a reflection page. So you get to think about how this went for you and reflect on your work. How do you think your house stood up to the huff and the puff of a blow dryer?
Great.
Yeah, that was amazing. I think you have a future becoming an engineer someday. What do you think?
Yeah.
All right. Good luck, guys, on the Big Bad Challenge.